movement. Today we're going to have a class where we focus on hip external rotation, specifically creating better range of motion and more control through our hips. So this is going to help a lot with our flexibility, but it's also going to help with our control on our balancing poses and our standing poses. You're going to feel stronger and healthy in our hips. Our hips are our support system too. What happens with our hips directly relates into our spine. So if our hips aren't controlling the femur bones well and they aren't gliding and moving smooth, that's all going to affect your core when you go to do ab work, whatever you're doing. So like that. All right, so we have that to look forward to for today's class. Let's get started in child's pose. All right, so we're going to begin today's class in child's pose. So have your big toes together, your knees just wide enough for your ribs to fit in between, and then stretch forward as you sit back. So just take a few moments here to connect to your breath. Notice if your breath is getting stuck up in your rib cage, I want you to focus on breathing all the way down into your belly. And feel your side ribs expand. Get more space horizontally. Then come up onto your hands and your knees. And from hands and knee position, bring your right knee up to your right elbow. Lift your knee out to the side, stretching through the inner leg, the groin. Internally rotate the thigh and take the leg behind you. Squeeze the glute, the hamstring. Lower your knee slowly. Lift back up. Open your knee out to the side. Externally rotate. Knee up to elbow. Lower knee down. One more time. Lift knee up to elbow. Lift out to the side, stretching through the inner leg. Internally rotate as you take the leg behind. Lower slow. Lift back up. Out to the side. Externally rotate. Bring knee to elbow. Lower knee slow. Let's do it on the other side now. Lift left knee to left elbow. Open out to the side. Internally rotate your thigh. Take the leg behind, squeezing glute and hamstring. Lower back long. Lower knee. Lift back up. Open knee out to the side. Knee to elbow. Lower down. Last one. Lift up. Open out to the side, externally rotating. Then internally rotate as you take it back behind. Lower slow. Lift back up. Out to the side. Externally rotate. And lower your knee down. And curl your toes under, stretch back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Put a little bend in your knees as you let your head drop. So just pay attention to how your hips felt. Just take a mental note of how the hips felt in that first little hip moving around series that we did. Where you felt sticky, which side felt tighter. Just take a mental note. And then roll yourself up to stand. And we're going to warm up the external rotators a little bit by just lifting the leg up, like into a pigeon position, and then lowering down. So change will alternate one leg and then the other. So you pick it up, catch the outer foot, and turn the thigh instead of torquing from the knee and the ankle. We're just going to go side to side here. Okay, then stand in mountain pose. Open up your toes, press down through your heels, balance your weight across your feet. As you inhale, raise your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come into a flat back. Step back and lower, chaturanga. Inhale into your first low cobra. And remember when we practiced moving the spine from above the strap line. So imagine I had a strap right here at the bottom of your chest, and you're pressing everything from that bottom chest line down into the ground, and then from above there, I want you to see if you can go into extension. Don't just hinge from your neck. Instead, see if you can get the thoracic spine to start to move. Lower your chest down, lift up onto the hands and knees, stretch back into downward facing dog. Breathe in and out through your nose. Walk your feet forward to the front. Inhale, find a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach down through your feet as you raise your arms. Externally rotate. And fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale into a flat back. Step back and lower chaturanga. This time we'll add a push-up from the bottom of your chaturanga. Engage your core and your glutes. Lift back up. And then control yourself all the way down. Press down from the bottom of the chest. Legs press down. And then roll from the bottom chest up into extension. And lower back down. Press up into plank onto hands and knees or with straight legs. Stretch back into downward facing dog. Breathe in and out through your nose. Bend your knees and look forward. Step, walk, or float up to the top. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach up. Externally rotate your arms as you reach. Press down into your heels. Now just notice as your arms go up, there's going to be a tendency to shrink in your lower back and sink forward. Take your breath all the way down into your lower back and your belly. And see if you can expand more there with your arms up. Just notice the difference. That's going to help you to use your core, and it should let the front ribs come back in. Now with your arms into a Y position, I want you to internally rotate as you take them down, all the way down behind your back. Bring the hands onto your lower back. Then draw the elbows forward, opening up the shoulder blades and the upper back. And then draw the elbows back. Feel the muscles though in your back squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. So it's not just the elbows moving, you're waking up the muscles in your back. Now stretch the hands down, keeping those back muscles turned on. Externally rotate your arms. And now spread the bottoms of the blades. You're going to feel those same muscles you were just squeezing start to spread and help to lift your bottom shoulder blades out to the side and up. And then bend your elbows, slide your hands behind your head. Spread those muscles on the back to take the elbows forward, and then squeeze those muscles to draw the elbows back in space. Make sure you can feel both sides squeezing evenly. Raise your arms back up and fold forward, Uttanasana. We're gonna do that same sequence on the belly now. Inhale, find a flat back. Step back into plank pose. Lower for your chaturanga push-up. Hover, pause, engage core, lift back up. One more time, lower slow, chaturanga. Collarbones very wide, shoulders open. Engage core to lift back up. Lower down onto your belly. Inhale into the modified cobra, pressing down from the chest line down. And now imagine that imaginary strap was just above the center, or right at the center of the chest, and you're just going to roll up just from up there. Everything else stays down. That's a hard place to get to move. Lower that chest back down. Now take the arms out to the side into a Y position. And from here, let's lift the hands up off the ground, feeling the back of the shoulder turn on, and then internally rotate as you take the arms into a T and then straight back at your side. Then bring the knuckles onto your lower back, spread the stuff in between the blades to lower the elbows down, and then squeeze the stuff in between the blades to draw the elbows back up. Stretch the hands straight back. Externally rotate, take the arms forward, pause, hold in the Y position. Now bend the elbows, hands behind your head. Lower elbows down, spread blades. Contract the muscles in between the blades, lift the elbows back up. Then take the arms in the cactus position and hold. Squeeze in the back of the shoulder. Squeeze the elbows now into your waist. Then bring the hands next to your side chest. Roll up into cobra or upward facing dog. And stretch back into downward dog. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, Samastiti. Now here's where we're going to use the strap or the stick. So either take your strap, band, or stick behind you. We're just going to place it right about the middle of the buttock with the arm externally rotated so the thumbs point out. So now breathe all the way down into your lower belly and lower back. Fill the rib cage. And now I want you to open up right here, the armpit chest. Instead of letting the shoulder head sink onto the chest, roll that open without hardening your sacrum or lower back or contracting your back ribs. And then I want you to start to press and squeeze the strap, or ideally with a stick, you can squeeze it into your butt so you start to contract those muscles. Get a little contraction there, but still keep the shoulders rolled back. And now bend your knees slightly, hinge from your hips, start to fold, and you'll start to put that same area on a stretch now, so you're no longer squeezing it into the butt as much. And then fold all the way and let the stick start to come up. Then press down through your feet. Try to keep that space from the stick and the butt as you come back up. Feel the muscles in your back turn on, front of the shoulders open. Lower it back down to your butt. And then slowly, little bend in your knees, hinge from your hips. So you're keeping the front shoulder open. Pause halfway, breathe. And then fold all the way. Let the stick start to come up off the butt. Take a breath in. Press down through your feet. Try to keep the stick that far away from your butt as you come up through your legs and your strong spine. Hold the stick away from the butt. Lower it down. Last one, little bend in the knees. Tip from your hips. Lean forward halfway. Hold in this position. Feeling the back muscles turned on, the shoulders open. And then fold all the way. Take a breath in. Press down into your feet. Keep the stick that far away from your butt as you come up with a strong core. Lower the stick down. Take the stick to the side. Inhale, raise your arms up. And just notice you might feel a little more freedom in your shoulders after having done that stretch. Exhale, fold forward, stick stretch. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower, chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog, or you can practice your cobra, thoracic extension. Downward dog, stretch back. And then from downward dog, step your right foot up by your right thumb. Drop your back knee, hands onto the inside of your foot. Bend your elbows and sink a little deeper into the lunge. Take a breath. Then straighten your elbows. Plant your left hand under your left shoulder. Bring your right hand to your left ribs. Breathe down into your lower belly. Twist and take your arm up. Then bring your right hand down to your right knee, press down through your center right heel, feel your outer right butt turn on, and come up, raise your left arm up. Let the tail lengthen down, and then start to contract the right side rib stuff to stretch you over to the right. Let the left side open up. Come back up, bring both hands down, slide your hips back over top of your knee, and then crawl your right foot forward with the toes pointed. Lift your knee, stretch your hips back, lift the skin of your lower belly up towards your chest. Then dorsiflex your foot, pull the toes back towards you. Rebend your right knee. Scoot your back knee in just slightly closer if needed. Press down through your right heel. Then as you feel your right outer butt turn on, come up into crescent lunge. Place your hands back down onto the mat. Step back into plank pose. Optional chaturanga push-up or just holding your plank. Stretch back into downward facing dog. Step your left foot up. Back knee down, hands go onto the inside of your foot. Take a breath down into your pelvis and see if you can bend the elbows and maybe go a little bit deeper. Keep the front of the pelvis opening, each groin releasing towards its own inner knee instead of crossing. Then straighten your elbows, plant your right hand under your shoulder, left hand comes to the ribs. Turn your rib cage to open you up, then take your left arm up. Bring your left hand onto your knee, press straight down to that left heel, tailbone lengthens down as you come up. Nice deep stretch to that side. Then start to contract the left side ribs, obliques to take you over, opening up to the right side gills. Bring it back up. Both hands come down. Slide the hips back over top of the knee, and then wiggle your front foot forward into a stretch. Little micro bend in the knee, send the hips back. Navel up as the side ribs stretch forward. Breathe through your nose. Then dorsiflex the foot, pull the toes back towards you. Slowly release that, rebend your knee, slide the foot so that it's in proper position for crescent. Lift your back knee up, press down to that left heel, turn on your outer butt, and then come up. I'm working with a little bend in the back knee as I warm up, just to help to keep the breath moving down into the lower back so that the lumbar stays long, instead of the lumbar borrowing from the movement that the hip's trying to get. Or the other way around, the hip borrowing from the movement. You know what I mean. Bring your hands back down, step back into plank. Optional chaturanga push-up or just holding your plank. And stretch back into downward facing dog. Look in between your hands, step or float up to the front of your mat. Inhale, find a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Sit back into chair pose. Stand Samastiti. Inhale into chair. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower chaturanga. Inhale into the thoracic cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Warrior one, step your right foot. Inhale, come up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Step your left foot, warrior one. Inhale, come up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Bend knees and look forward. Step or hop to the top. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into chair pose. Stand Samastiti. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Step or float back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Warrior one, step your right foot. Inhale, come up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your left foot, Vira one. Inhale, come up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Bend your knees and look forward. Step or hop to the top. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale into your chair pose. Sit your hips back, arms up. Keep your arms up in your chair and come all the way up to stand. Breathe back down into your lower belly, creating space. Bring your arms down to your side. Then bring your right heel up onto the inseam of your left thigh for Vrikshasana tree pose. Hands to prayer. So a great way to open up the inner legs here, which is going to help when we go to work on our external rotators. If this stuff's real tight, when we go to strengthen the external rotator, this will block it. So just getting this nice opening across the inner groins, front of the pelvis. Feel from your right groin, you can release it towards the right knee. And then imagine from your right outer knee that you could pull the skin back into the outer hip socket. And then even like you're squeezing that outer buttock to help to pull that skin back a little bit better, but not at the expense of hardening this stuff on the inside. If you squeeze with the outer leg too much, this will harden. Do just the right amount. Take your arms up once you're steady. Now slide your hands behind your head like you're chilling, chillaxing at the beach. Hands behind the head. Open up the armpit chest. And then if you need more opening, you can start to pull the elbows back in space and lean the head back a little more. Take your arms back up. Bring your hands down. Change legs. Press down right to the center of your right heel. Slide your left heel up. Try to bring the heel up by the groin. clamp the heel, clamp the thigh. Smooth the skin from your left groin to your knee. Pull the skin from the outer thigh back into the hip socket. Start to grip that outer butt without hardening the skin here. Hands come to prayer. Maybe take the arms up. Breathe down into your lower belly. And then you can stay there, or you can do the chest expansion stretch. Hands behind the head, fingers interlocked. Breathe. Remember, we're trying not to compensate from the lower back. Take your arms back up. Lower your leg down, bring your arms down. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale into a flat back. Step back and lower, Chaturanga. Or you can skip the vinyasa and just go right back into downward facing dog, your choice. From down dog, step your right foot, warrior one. Inhale, come up. Open to your side, warrior two. So this right leg should be familiar now. It's in that similar position. You just don't have the heel tucked up, but we're gonna try to smooth the skin from the groin to the inner knee and pull from the outer thigh, draw the skin back. At the same time, feel your thigh bone rotating in the socket. So lift out of it just a little, and then I want you to imagine you could use your muscles in your hip to turn the thigh bone out. And then keep that as you slowly start to sink a little bit deeper. Now, end range is going to be the most difficult to find a new action. So if you're trying to find it and you didn't lift out of it, you're not going to find it. You got to lift up a little, then turn it, and then see if you can maintain it as you bend the knee. Spread your arms out to the side, hold Vira 2. Now see if you can keep that same amount of rotation as we lean from the hips out over and come into side angle, forearm to thigh or hand onto the block. Now raise your top arm 6 inches. Hold there. And then take your top arm perpendicular to the floor if it isn't already. Still keep that rotation in your right. Reach through your feet and come back into warrior 2. Bring your hands to the mat. Step back, vinyasa, or go right back into down dog. Step your left foot for warrior 1. Inhale to come up. Open to your side, Vira 2. Smooth the skin, pull the outer thigh back. Now start to straighten your left leg halfway. Now feel the muscles that are turning the thigh bone out in the socket. Turn, turn, turn. Can you feel that in your outer hip? And then slowly start to rebend the knee, but keep all that rotational quality. The thigh bone turning in deep in the hip socket. Try it one more time. Straighten your leg. Turn, 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 still pushing even into the foot. Don't let the foot twist. And then slowly start to rebend your knee. So we could do this pose 1,000 times, but if we don't have the focus there, we're never going to get more movement in the way that we want to get it. And so this is one of the reasons why I was so attracted to Iyengar yoga, because I've been doing yoga for like 3 years religiously, and then I went to my first Iyengar yoga class. This was one of the things that we did, actually, focus on hip external rotation. And I was like, oh my gosh, I never accessed those muscles. I've been doing these poses for so long, and I've never felt what you're supposed to feel. Spread your arms out for Vira 2. Now keep that, but don't strain in your energy centers. So make sure you can still breathe down into your belly. You're not straining from your neck, your jaw. Then tip from your hips and come into side angle. So we'll start with the arm over the ear, hold there. Can you still hold that amount of external rotation in your left hip? Take your arm halfway up to the sky, hold that, work for more external rotation. Take your arm straight up and hold, find a little more external rotation. Reach into your feet, come back up into Vira 2. Then straighten your left leg. Turn your toes in so your feet are parallel. Hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders open, just like when we had that stick behind us. Shoulders open, but without compensating from the ribs. Tip forward halfway, keep the shoulders open. And then fold all the way. You could interlock the hands or keep the hands on the hips and work on getting the opening in the shoulder. So if I try to interlock my hands and go over, my shoulders would kind of collapse into each other. So I either need a stick or a strap, or I just need to decrease the range of motion so I can access what I'm looking for. And that goes for anything that we're learning in yoga. Like if you lost that thigh turn, the feeling of turn, you were sinking deeper into your warrior two, you should come out of it a little bit and just focus on that thigh turn. Then set your fingertips down onto the ground. Inhale into a flat back. Get length through your spine. And then walk your hands back so that your fingers align with your toes. Press so your index finger knuckle, turn your triceps back. Now as you press the index finger knuckle, let the head drop down. And then lift your shoulder blades away from your ears. So this is the foundation for our tripod headstand. What happens is when we go to drop the head down, I'll just show you, you can look for a second, my shoulder blades will want to drop into my ears. And this is a dangerous position to put weight onto the neck. So here we're going to train, press index finger knuckle, turn triceps in, lift shoulder blades away from the ears, so that the neck feels long. Your head doesn't even have to be all the way down. You can still get those actions. Then just feel what it feels like to be holding the shoulder blades in position so that the cervical spine feels really long. Those of you who are working tripod headstand can go into it. Those of you who are just hanging out here with me, you could take a different variation now. You could hook big toes, inhale flat back, and then exhale, fold deeper, or you can keep working that foundation for tripod headstand. Then inhale, come into a flat back, everybody. Press down through your feet, strong through your legs, come up to stand. Turn your right leg out and step up to the top of your mat. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, find a flat back. Step back into downward dog or take a vinyasa. Now let's come into Vashisthasana. Roll onto the outside edge of your left foot and take your right arm up. As a modification, you could drop the knee down. Holding in Vashisthasana, breathe through your nose. Slowly change sides. Roll onto the outside edge of your right foot, take your left arm up, or drop your knee down. Bring your hand down. Now drop your left elbow down. With both knees down, lift the underside of your ribs, keeping the side ribs lifted on the left side. Take your right hand to your right hip. Then externally rotate the arm as you reach it up and over. Then take it back behind you, internally rotate it, and bring it towards your right back pocket. Lift it back up behind you, away from your pocket. Externally rotate and reach it up. Take it back up overhead, bring it back down in front of you, down at your side. Slowly change sides. Right elbow down, drop the knees, left hand to your hip. Then take the arm up in line with your ear. Keep your side ribs lifted. Stretch a little bit further and then start to take it behind your back as you internally rotate it. Lift it away from your back pocket, externally rotate, and reach back up overhead. Bring the arm back around in front. Bring both elbows down. Press down into your forearms. Curl your toes, lift your knees an inch. Now hug your side ribs in. Lift the front of the rib cage and then see if you can straighten your legs without the rib cage sinking. Set your knees down, come up onto your hands. Same thing. Curl your toes under, rib cage in, lift the knees up an inch. Now keeping your rib cage lifted, see if you can walk the feet back and straighten the legs. Side ribs are hugged in, front ribs lifted, then start to push the legs towards straight. Squeeze your leg muscles. What'll want to happen is this. Everyone wants to sink like that. Instead, see if you can keep the rib cage lifted, keep the neck long. Good, then stretch back into down dog. Step your left foot to the back of your left wrist, right foot to the back of your right wrist. Then slide your hands back on the insides of your legs and slowly start to sit your buttock back like you're going to drop it down onto your elbows. And I'm going to give you an option for 2 different arm balances. So from here, you could lift the butt up, wiggle the shoulders behind the knees, plant the hands, sit back and cross the ankles, work on Bhujapidasana. You could also bring your feet together, lift your heels up, hook your arms, practice going into Bakasana, or you can practice stretching. Options. 5 breaths, whichever one you want to go for. And then from there, we'll come into a seated position for abdominals. Bring your knees together for both those. Press down through your tailbone and your sit bones. Feel the spine buoyant. Use your breath to create space through the spots of the spine that you tend to sink in. Those are the weakest spots in the spine. Then set your heels down and control yourself down into low boat position. Hold there. Squeeze these upper abdominals so the lower ribs hug down into position. Now keep that squeeze as you take one leg forward. Change legs.
See if you can squeeze up 1 more inch right from there. Change legs. Now lift that leg up. Keep all that squeezed and lower it down. Maybe you can lower it 1 inch above the ground, keeping that squeezed in. Lift back up and lower. Change legs and lower. Lift back up and lower. Come back up into boat. Cross your legs at the shins. Put your hands down and lift up. You can keep both feet down, work on squeezing using your core, or you can try lifting 1 foot up and then maybe the other. Lower your buns down, take a breath, expand your chest, and then come back into boat. Control yourself into low boat. Hug those abdominals in. You can do 1 leg, 2 legs, no legs. I just want to see that this stays in. Come back up into boat. Cross your legs the other way. Hands down. Pick up. Lower your buns. Navasana. Ardha Navasana. Now take your right leg up. Bring your hands up and over to the outside of the leg. Change sides. Left leg up. Go up and over to the outside of the left. Change legs. Change legs. Then both legs down, lower your head down. Take your legs straight up. Or, with a little bend, tuck your pubic bone to your chest and try to push your butt straight up. Lower your butt back down. Take a breath. And then tuck your pubic bone to your chest. Push straight up. Lower back down. Last one. Tuck pubic bone to chest. Push straight up. And crunch up and reach up towards your feet. Good. Lower your feet down. Roll up to seated. Take Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees wide apart. Let your groins open, your hip flexors release. Then hook your big toes, lean your torso back halfway, and see if you can take your right leg out, and then your bring your legs together. Breathe down into your pelvis. Let the breath help to expand the parts of the spine that want to sink. Arms forward, cross your legs, pick up and float back. Chaturanga. Or just stretch back into downward dog. Downward dog, step your right foot for warrior one. Inhale, come up. Then start to tip forward. So just like we practiced with the hands on the stick, can you tip forward to this flat back position, almost halfway, and not let the shoulders sink onto the chest? Then slowly lengthen all the way out over the leg. Now reach down through your feet. Inhale, come back up to stand. Right hand to your hip, left arm straight up. And reach and twist. Let the rib cage turn. Then bring your hands down, step forward and fold forward, or go for standing splits, your call. If you're in the standing splits, lower your left leg down, and then with a bend in your knees, roll yourself up to stand. Press down to your left heel as you hug your right knee up to your chest. Hold there or take your big toe. Then change hands and twist. Come back to center, raise your arms up. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you, hold there. Bring hands to prayer, tip into warrior three. Keep a little bend in this left knee. Use your hip flexors so that you can level the hips. So instead of using the glute max, which is going to take over and turn the hips open, level the hips to the floor, feel that outer buttock, and then, with control, step back into warrior one. Straighten your left leg, bring the hands behind the back, roll your chest shoulders open, inhale. Exhale, start to lean out over your leg halfway. Pause in the halfway position. Make sure that the shoulders aren't sinking onto the chest. You can feel that activity in your back muscles. Press into your left foot even, and then start to lengthen all the way over that leg as you breathe. Reach down through your feet, come back up. Left hand on your hip, take your right arm straight up. Reach, twist, twist a triangle. Let your rib cage turn. Stay connected into your left foot. Notice if the weight's falling to the outside edge. Then go for standing splits or step forward and fold forward Uttanasana. If you're in the standing splits, lower your right leg to meet your left and then roll yourself up to stand. Press down through your right heel as you bring your left knee up. Hold your knee or take your big toe. Change hands and twist. Come back to center, raise your arms up, stretch your legs straight out. Then bring your hands to prayer, tip into warrior three. So we're gonna keep a little bend in this right knee, feel your hips level, feel your thigh bone plugging in, so you have to use that hip flexor stuff and the outer hip, the glute med. Hips level, spine long. Step back into warrior one, raise your arms up, then back heel up, twist, hook your elbow to your knee, hands to prayer. Now I'm gonna leave it up to you. You could hang out here in the twist, or you can step your back leg forward and then go into side crow. Place your hands down, step back into down dog, or take a vinyasa. Step your left foot up. Warrior one, inhale, come up. Hands to prayer, back heel up. Lean out and twist. Hold there or look down, step your back leg forward, and then go for side crow. Hands down, step back, vinyasa, or just right back to dog. Then set your knees down and let's go over the foundation for headstand. So while I emphasized the tripod headstand today, the setup for that, tripod headstand is not a headstand that you hold for time. Tripod headstand is a headstand that you do as a transition. So it shouldn't be any longer than 15, 20 seconds. You're using it to come in and out of arm balances, etc. If you're gonna hold a headstand and you wanna work on a headstand practice, it should be from this position with the forearms down. So this is headstand one, this is headstand two. This is what I mean by the tripod headstand, the hands and the head making a tripod. So to go over that foundation, we'll go over the tripod headstand foundation today. Again, this is not one that you hold for time, it's just a transition. If you're working a headstand practice, it should be like this, crown of the head, because your neck is more protected when you have the force of the forearms. So for the tripod, to go into it from hands and knees, I place the hands and then I'm going to draw an imaginary triangle, an equilateral triangle, so my head will complete the equilateral triangle. I set the crown of the head down. I press into the index finger knuckle, turn the triceps in, lift the shoulder blades, and then I'm going to try to lift my knees up. Now, as soon as my shoulder blades start to sink, that's when I stop walking in. See if I can walk in a little closer, and then keeping the shoulder blades up, driving the hands, take the legs up, hold, and then I come right back down. Because just a transition. If I wanted to, I could go from there into crow pose, side crow, what have you. But that's really the pose, just working that transition. Okay. If you want to now hold an inversion, then I'd recommend this sucker. Practice your handstand, practice your forearm balance, or you can just practice a long prasarita. I'll leave it up to you. All right, now come back to a kneeling position. Now the last thing you just have to keep in mind for this is if I want to bring my hands into this position and my armpit chest, my lats, and my shoulders are too tight, rib cage, so that my rib cage sinks forward. So I have to be able to keep my rib cage in and stretch the radius anterior, lats, all this stuff open so I can have good posture while I do a headstand. Because we don't want to do doing a headstand with the ribs sinking forward like this. Again, you're going to sink into your neck, lower back, want to be strengthened in this position. So always a good idea to check in the mirror and make sure what you think is happening is actually happening. Okay, from here we're going to do a little bit of supported thoracic extension before we get deep into the hip stuff. So take a roller for across your upper back. And as you inhale, start to roll your chest over. The same area we were trying to move when we were doing those baby cobras, now we're getting the passive thoracic extension. Come back up. If you're at the lower chest, try to slide it up to just like the nipple line. Use your in-breath. And then as you exhale, see if you can go deeper. Then curl back up from there. Right. And we come into a kneeling position, and you could reach back and take your foot either from this low lunge position, or you can come more upright, or you can try to go straight up and down. You can even use a stick, desk, or whatever to help you be straight up. You just have to be careful with the knee digging into the floor. You want to be more to the top of the knee. You can even double the mat over. Now in this position, start to engage the buttock towards the back of the knee to help to stretch the hip flexor a little bit better, almost like you're trying to tuck your buttock under, but not so aggressively to where you're straining anywhere or creating pain. Then release that and change sides. again, start to work the back of the leg, almost like you're trying to tuck the buttock to help to create more stretch for the hip flexor slash quads. And release that. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of active work before we do some passive hip stretching. So this is to help to train our external rotators to start to fire. So we're going to come into the 90 and 90 stretch with the left leg in front of you, externally rotated, and then the right leg is internal rotation. This is making a 90-degree angle. We have a 90-degree angle between the legs, and this left leg is trying to make a 90-degree angle. So I want you to sit up tall, turn to face your left knee, like you're turning your navel towards it, and then just start to lean to the leg a little bit until you feel a stretch into the buttock, piriformis area. So this is a passive stretch for the external rotators, but we want to do some active work to actually try to get those external rotators to move better. So if we try to work them from this fully stretched passive position, they're not going to move very well. So we're going to come out of the stretch, and then we're actually going to lean over to the side. And from here, you could put your elbow down onto a block, or you might even need the floor, because what I want you to do is try to externally rotate by using the same muscles we felt in Warrior 2, and try to lift this foot off the ground so that it hovers. So I can just slide like my finger under there. So if you can get it to lift so I can slide a finger under there, cool. If you can't, drop the elbow to the ground. Okay, now from this position, we're just going to work on activating those muscles. So I want you to drive your ankle straight down into the ground on this left leg, the front leg. Try to, like you're trying to twist and externally rotate the thigh. Sorry, rather internally rotate the thigh. Turn, the opposite we've been doing. Drive your ankle straight down into the ground. And we're gonna hold it for 10. You should feel the muscles in the hip, turning the hip to drive the ankle down. 2, 1. Now slowly back off of that, and we're gonna turn the thigh bone the other way so that you can lift off. And hold that for 10. 9, 8, 'Good job. Slowly release that. And then let's try it on the other side. Now you might be wondering, what the hell is this situation where we're leaning on our side and squeezing our hips? And so first we can come into the passive stretch. Turn your belly, sit up, lean into it, stretch your buttock back as you draw your navel up. Alright, then release that. And then we'll come onto the elbow. See if you can lift off there. If you can't lift off on the block, I have better range in this one. This one is good. The left one doesn't move very good. Then you can lay down onto the ground. Okay, so what this work is going to do, drive down. I'll have you start to work while I'm talking. Turn, like you're going to push the ankle down through the floor. Feel the muscles in the hip, turning the hip. What this is going to do is going to give us better control when we go to do those hip mobilization exercises at the beginning. You're going to be able to feel that it moves better. And we want to have that control over the hips, so it's going to help with our Warrior 2. It's going to help with all of our standing poses. It's going to help us get deeper into our end ranges by creating health. Remember, the health of the muscles ability to contract and release all the way. So we're putting it as deep as we can, and then we're contracting. Squeeze it down for the last 3, 2, 1. Opposite. Turn, start to back off, and then turn the thigh bone and see if you can lift that ankle off. And hold for 10. Come on, squeeze it. Give as much effort as you can. Lift up higher. And slowly release. Okay, we're going to do one more round of those, except now we're going to pull into a stretch. And then we're going to see if we can hold that position and squeeze it. So here we go. Come into the 90 and 90 stretch. Then lean over. even like all the way on your side if you do. Okay, now holding this in a supported stretch, I want you to start to turn that thigh bone like we practiced in Warrior 2. Squeeze it and turn it. Now hold it as you release. For 4, 3, 2. Now control it down nice and slow to the ground. Pick it back up. Hold. Turn those muscles in your hip. Release it. Hold for 4, 3, 2. Control it down to the ground. 2 more times. Lift it up. Turn the thigh bone in the hip socket. Squeeze it. Hold it. And then control it down. Last one. Lift it up. Turn on those muscles. Squeeze it. Hold it. Hold it up. And control it down. You should feel those hip muscles really had to work to do that, like they're on fire. Okay, let's do it on the other side. So set yourself up in that 90-90 position as perfect as you can. Lean over. Take it into a passive stretch. Hold it up there. Now turn on those muscles. Turn, turn, turn. Keep it there. And hold for 3, 2, 1. Control it down to the ground. Lift up. Passive. Squeeze those muscles. Turn it. Hold. And then control it down. 2 more. Lift it up with your hand. Squeeze the muscles. Turn. Let it go. Hold it up. Control it down. Lift it up. Breathe down into your belly. Squeeze those muscles in your hip. But now create tension through your whole body and see if that can help you do better. Your core. Squeeze. Control it down. And then come back into your Baddha Konasana. And just notice how your Baddha Konasana feels. And then let's come onto hands and knees. We're just going to see how the hip range of motion is. Now bring your left knee up to your left elbow. Lift it out to this. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look how much external rotation I got now. And then internally rotate your thigh, holding it here, and then externally rotate. I just want to see how much you can lift it out to the side and internally and externally rotate after doing that exercise. Lower it down, and we'll change sides. Left knee up, right knee up to whatever knee you didn't do, up to elbow, and then spread out to the side. Hold it up there, and go through internal and external rotation. The muscles may feel fatigued, but just feel if you have better control and at least more awareness there after having done those exercises. All right, now come into Upavista Konasana. Legs wide apart, seated stretch. Sit tall, breathe through your nose. Hold there or start to lean forward. Maybe even take a hold of your toes. And then for our final hip stretch, you could practice, for passive external rotation, you could practice double pigeon or single pigeon. Or you can just do simple cross legs, fold forward. I'm going to go for the double pigeon, but it's up to you. If this isn't accessible because of your hips are too tight, then just put the shin in front. Work on leaning forward like that. For this, you don't want to be going on a scale of 1 to 10 for the stretch. You want to be right at a balance sensation, about a 5. That's going to be best for your nervous system to adapt to the stretch. Instead of bringing it up near 8, 9, 10, you're telling your body to tense up. So you're telling it to create more tension when you're trying to do a passive stretch. And that's not what you want to be doing. Take a slow breath in through your nose. And then a slower, longer breath out through your nose. So you're creating
sensation with your breath that's telling your nervous system to relax and calm down. Feel your body and go deeper now. Imagine you could breathe right into that sensation. And change sides. And come back up. For your final spinal twist, lie down on your back, and I'll leave it up to you which one you want to go with, knee over knee, ankle over knee, or you can try bringing the leg over onto the foam roller and then twisting open from there. Block works too. Release that and change sides. Release that and set yourself up for Shavasana, corpse pose. Let your body relax. Then take a slow, steady breath in through your nose. Fill your belly, your back, side, and front rib cage. And let it out slow. Practicing with a Ujjayi breath if possible. Loma pranayama, fill the bottom of your belly and lungs. Pause. the strain, keep your nerves calm. Open the bottom of the breath container and fill it. The middle. The top. And let it out slowly. Now let's change the breath. Fill all the way up. Pause at the top. Exhale a third out. Exhale another third out. Let it all. Let a third out. Last one. Go all the way up without straining the neck or the jaw. Let a third out. Let another third out. Let it all out. Let go of the breath control. Give yourself permission now to completely relax. And gently bend your knee. Roll over to your side. And press yourself up to seated. Namaste. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that you felt like you got better